Tell me, where am I supposed to go?
Marcus Garvey once said, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." My name is Hossam Khattab, and in this essay I am going to establish my roots. That is, I am going to explore my cultural identity and discover what events have made me the person that I am today. I am a 14-year-old student who at the time of making this iMovie attends high school at Qatar Academy. I was born in Giza, Egypt on the 15th of September 1997. My mother, Abir Salama, has a master's degree in pharmacognosy and was an assistant professor at Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt. My father is Tamer Khattab, who has a philosophy of doctorate in the electrical and computer engineering from the University of British Columbia. He is currently a professor at Qatar University. I come from a Sunni Islamic background, born and raised by Muslim parents in a Muslim environment. This shaped much of who I am now, and in fact much of my values throughout my life. This was emphasized even more when I spent summers in Egypt, where Islam is really intertwined into the culture and put at the highest regard. In terms of me as a person, I am someone who likes to try new things and is interested in anything that can pose a challenge to me. There are a number of events throughout my life that have helped to shape who I am as a person. At the age of 3, I moved to Canada. The Canadian culture is very unique because it combines cultures from the very far reaches of the world. Spending time there showed me how these cultures interact together in harmony, and it taught me to appreciate and interact with other cultures, something I didn't get the chance to do very often in Egypt. Living in Canada, I was also introduced to and adopted certain cultural traits from there, such as wearing jeans and t-shirts, learning the English language, and eating foods like pancake, maple syrup, and French toast. Finally, it directly influenced the way I treat people, for I learned my manners and my social conduct from some of the nicest people in the world. At the age of 10 years, I moved to Doha. Moving directly from Vancouver to Doha was a very intense culture shock to me. I had suddenly moved from one culture to another very different one. This contrast, however, had a very positive impact on me. It required me to learn to adapt quickly, and in contrast to the Canadian culture, it required me to learn something new. This was that I needed to be able to stand up for myself and speak out when necessary, a skill I hadn't needed to work on so much when living back in Vancouver. In addition to this, I was given the opportunity to explore a completely new culture. I began to notice things that Qataris did different to me, such as their national dress and their high sense of ethnocentrism. Some of the aspects I had to cope with were difficult, but they helped to make me a stronger person and directly contributed to making me more confident in myself. At the age of 12, I visited Turkey for QA's Week Without Walls trip. This trip enabled me to visit a country I had never before visited and explore a rich culture in a way that I'd never before had the opportunity to do. During this trip, I visited many of the beautiful landmarks in Turkey, indulged in the Turkish food, and visited traditional markets. It was during this time that I learned the value of and began to appreciate the fact that differences between cultures is actually something to admire, because it makes the world interesting to explore and it allows us to learn from other people. At the age of 14, I officially became a 9th grade student, meaning that I was now in high school. Becoming a high school student taught me a number of things, as well as affected my cultural identity in a very positive way. One thing that really began to become clear to me as I entered the 9th grade was that I needed to make sure that I was very respectful and very understanding of other people's opinions. This really helped my cultural identity grow, and it really made me understand the meaning of the learner profile open-minded. When I look back over the course of my life and evaluate the experiences that I had that affected my personality and cultural identity, I definitely come to the conclusion that they had a positive effect on my life, even if the experiences themselves weren't always enjoyable. This is because I see that it is experiences such as moving from Vancouver to Doha or visiting Turkey are the things that have made me the successful person I am today. Each one of these events, and every event that I've mentioned over the course of my life, have come together like the bits of a puzzle to form the big picture that is my cultural identity, and I believe that each event is significant in its own way.